Morning and welcome to Sheldopedia. I'm Sheldon Betteridge here on today's show. We are we're talking about more about Joe Biden's victory and two Democrat senators winning Georgia makes the Democrats control of the Senate. That is coming up after I played. Anyone by just the people on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM.
Dance with me under the diamonds. See me like breath in the cold. Sleep with me here in the silence. Come kiss me silver and gold. You say that I won't lose you, but you can't predict the future. So just hold on like you will never let go. Yeah, if you ever move on without me, I need to make sure you know that you are the only one I'll ever love. Gotta tell you, yeah. You, if it's not you, it's not anyone. Gotta tell you. Looking back on my life, you're the only good I've ever done. Yeah. Time to love you the way that I want. 'Cause every morning I find you, I fear the day that I don't. You say that I won't lose you, but you can't predict the future. 'Cause certain things are out of our control. Yeah, if you ever move on without me, I need to make sure you know. Tell you, looking back on my life, you're the only good I've ever done. Yeah, you, if it's not you, it's not anyone. It's not anyone, not anyone. If it's not you, it's not anyone.
That was Anyone by Justin Bieber on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. Congress certified President Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris' victory early on Thursday, the end of a long day and night marked by chaos and violence in Washington, D.C. Extremists emboldened by President Trump sought to thwart the peaceful transfer of power. Has been a hallmark of modern American history by staging up violent insurrections inside the U.S. Capitol. Who those who wreaked havoc in our capital today? You did not win. Vice President Pence once said lawmakers were convinced after they spent hours in lockdown. Parents never wins, freedom wins. This is still the people's house. Biden Harris finished with round 6 electoral votes while Trump and Pence have 232. It takes 270 electoral votes to win the presidency. In a statement realized after the certification was finalized, Trump long last acknowledged election loss. He said even though he disagrees with the outcome, there will be orderly transition on January the 20th. I've always said we want to continue our fight to ensure that all the legal votes were counted, while this represents the end of the greatest first term in presidential history. It is only beginning our fight to make America great again. Dozens of Republican lawmakers, along with Republican senators, supportive of Trump, plan to object Wednesday to the electoral votes as many success that backed Biden, but late Wednesday. Some Republicans withdrew their objections. Each objection a big amendment both of the House and the Senate to be considered. Senator Steve Daines of Montana, Mike Braun from Indiana, and Kelly Loeffler of Georgia all said that they would stand down. I cannot now in good conscience co-sign object to the certification of these electors, Loeffler said on Wednesday, trying to applaud some of her colleagues. Loeffler, one of the two Republicans, lost 3 races on Tuesday, giving Democrats control of the U.S. Senate. Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley, who took up Trump's call that lawmakers object the results of the election, said Wednesday night that the Senate should consider his objections, but they should be debated without violence, without attacks, and without bullets. Senate lawmakers voted late Wednesday to reject the charge to Biden's victory in the state of Arizona, and the House follows suit, but with many Republicans in favor of overturning the state results. The similar result applied for the states of Pennsylvania, with both chambers voted to reject the charge to Biden's victory here. Republican House lawmakers also objected the electoral votes in Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin, but no senator would join in these objections. In that case, the objection cannot be entertained. Pence repeatedly chairing the proceedings in this role as president of the Senate. So, without counted state by state, with remarks 3 electoral votes putting Biden and Harris over the 270 mark, then finally remarks 3 electoral votes were tallied for Trump and Pence. How the chaos unfolded. The process of Biden's victory began early afternoon votes. Typically ceremonial affair and affirmation of a democratic process was expected to be bitter, house-long, and endeavor because of the objectives planned by Trump's congressional allies, despite the fact they were certain to be met with bipartisan defeat. But as the process began, a mob of pro-Trump extremists stormed the Capitol on Wednesday afternoon, bringing the counting of electoral votes to a halt. Lawmakers were evacuated from a building as a fire chaotic scene played out, prompting a citywide curfew. One woman was killed by a Capitol police officer in the Capitol. Wednesday night, DC police said 3 other people died from medical emergencies in the surrounding area. Around 8 p.m. Eastern Time, hours after the Capitol was breached, lawmakers were cleared to return for finished debate and tally the electoral college votes. Separate speeches in their respective chambers. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell failed to press ahead with a business in hand. The scene that unfolded in a Capitol on Wednesday, coverage of massive efforts by Trump and his allies publicly and privately to overturn results of a 2020 election. Some of his efforts were based on unproven claims of fraudulent forecasts, while others founded on baseless conspiracy theories. Trump's had been partly focused on Pence's role, publicly ratcheting up the pressure on his vice president in recent days, including address supporters on Wednesday to back his efforts to reverse the 2020 election results. Pence said Wednesday he did not have the power to challenge the outcome of the election or unilaterally delay the certification of Biden's victory. And the insurrectionist that disrupted the certification of electoral college votes did so after Trump spoke to them and demanded they fight to stop the steal of election, a false claim and descent on the Capitol. After this, we're gonna walk down and I'll be there with you. We're gonna walk down to the Capitol, Trump said earlier on Wednesday, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we are probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. As the mob grew down on the Capitol, Trump remained largely silent and did not make racial remarks condemning the violence or attempts to quell it. At one point, he tweeted a short video which he repeated as whether evidence regarding voter fraud or stolen election. While saying, "We love you too," the mob had descended on Washington and urged him to go home. Later Wednesday, he tweeted that these are the things and events that happen in a scared landslide election that it is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great powers who have been very unfairly treated for so long. Twitter later demanded that the Twitter and video be removed and the platform temporarily locked the president's account, threatening to permanently suspend it. Compensation of the president for his part, Biden called on the president to direct his supporters to end what described an unprecedented result on democracy that borders on sedition. I call on President Trump to go on national television to fulfill his oath and defend the Constitution and demanded an end of the siege. Biden said in brief remarks. The president-elect also suggested that Trump was to blame for the violence, saying that the best ways of the president can expire every worse by can incite. As the chaos unfolded, some White House Democrats called an impeachment of a president again during his final 2 weeks in office. Republican Ilhan Omar of Minnesota wrote on Twitter that she's drawn up articles of impeachment. "We can't allow him to remain in office as a matter of preserving our republic," she wrote out Republican David Sutherland, former president for fires that consumed the Capitol, had said we should impeach and convict him tomorrow. Assistant Speaker Kevin Clark, Democrat from Massachusetts, called the president a traitor to our country and our constitution and called him to be removed from office and prevented him from endangering our country and our people. Trump also faces criticism within his own party for his role for engaging in the mob. What happened today is nothing short of a coup attempt. The president of the United States has been lying to his supporters with false information and false expectations. Pennsylvania Republican Private Secretary said in a tweet, he lit the flame of incitement and owns responsibility for this. And Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton said it is possible for Trump to accept his defeat, quit misleading the people, and repudiate mob violence. my piece had been ventilated to the U.S. Congress, but gonna play a video about when a mob stormed through the U.S. Capitol.
Trial by combat.
Oh, the land of the free.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
We'll pause.
Protesters are in the building.
Thank you.
There wasn't anything to say.
They're gonna stop us!
They're gonna stand.
Orders. A lot of evil has been done under the name of just following orders.
A person who should be held accountable is President Donald Trump. I can't wait to get him impeached, but I will. We're gonna play. Gonna play Hidden Shows by Open Batch on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM.
My head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, you're keeping me from feeling all alone. I've been praying to 1,000 different stars, to 1,000 different arms, till I found you. I've been chasing by 1,000 different hearts, to 1,000 million hours, now I found you. My nights will never be the same again. I got you running through my veins. I feel it in my head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, your music gets me through the highs and lows. My head, my shoulders, knees and toes, my bones, you keeping me from feeling all alone.
felt his shoulders, knees, and toes by Overbesh on Sheldopedia on RAE. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer said Mr. Trump should be removed immediately if his not House Speaker needs players says he could be impeached. 4 people died during the riot and 68 people now been arrested. Police have faced criticism for failing to stop the rioters breaking in. The official responsible for the security in the White House of Representatives, the surgeon officers, had now resigned. Mr. Schumer called for his government and the Senate to be sacked. President Joe Biden said nobody could tell me it was a group of Black Lives Matter protesters. Yesterday they would have been treated very differently than the thugs that stormed the US Capitol. The head of US Capitol Police, USCP senators officers have faced criminal religious behaviour and he describes officers' actions as heroic. Mr. Pelosi, however, has called on him to resign. Transport Secretary Elaine Chao said is the latest member of a Trump administration to quit in protest over the riots. Several level officials have also resigned. Joe Biden said the Black Lives Matter protesters would have been treated very differently.
Days in the history of our nation. An unprecedented assault on our democracy. An assault literally on the citadel of liberty in the United States Capitol itself. An assault on the rule of law. An assault on the most sacred of American undertakings, ratifying the will of the people in choosing the leadership of their government. All of us here grieve the loss of life, grieve the desecration of the people's house. But what we witnessed yesterday was not dissent, it was not disorder, it was not protest, it was chaos. They weren't protesters. Don't dare call them protesters. They were a riotous mob, insurrectionists, domestic terrorists. It's that basic, it's that simple. And I wish we could say we couldn't see it coming. That isn't true. We could see it coming. The 4 years we've had a president who's made his contempt for our democracy, our Constitution, the rule of law clear in everything he has done. He unleashed an all-out assault on our institutions of our democracy from the outset. And yesterday was but the culmination of that unrelenting attack. A little over an hour and a half after the chaos started, I got a text from my granddaughter, Finnegan Biden, who's a senior in her last semester at the University of Pennsylvania. She sent me a photo of military people in full military gear, scores of them lining the steps of the Lincoln Memorial because of protests by Black Lives Matter. She said, "Pop, this isn't fair. No one can tell me that if had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently than the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol." We all know that's true. And it is unacceptable, totally unacceptable. The American people saw it in plain view. And I hope it sensitized them to what we have to do.
I grown up. Mum have called for Mr. Trump to be removed as president. Most of him are from Mr. Biden's Democratic Party. 1 or 2 Republicans have joined in. The president shall not hold office one day longer, said Mr. Schumer, who's leave a Democratic majority in the Senate when it begins its new session later this month. He threatened his start and impeach president if Mr. Trump's cabinet did not remove him from office using 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which asked to the U.S. Vice President to state up if a president is unable to perform his duties only to a mental or physical illness, which certainly meet that criteria. It will mean require Vice President Mike Pence and at least 8 cabinet members to break with Mr. Trump and vote the amendment. Something that so far seemed unlikely to do. Mr. Pelosi described Mr. Trump as very dangerous person and said this is an emergency of the highest magnitude. If she left an option of a patient if Mr. Trump's colleagues did not start the 25th Amendment proceedings, Mr. Trump himself, who remained silent about Wednesday's violence. Congressman Adam Kinzinger from Illinois has become for her federal backers call on the use of a 25th Amendment, saying fire state of a president still violently out of a pen. The Republican governors of Maryland and Vermont have also called for Mr. Trump to be removed from office. Democrats of the House Judiciary Committee said that Mr. Trump's actions meet the amendment requirements. Separately by the House and the Senate have adjourned until Mr. Biden's sworn-in on 25th January. Both houses will be recalled to order the start of impeachment proceedings. Elaine Chao is the most high profile of several Trump administration officials resigning over the riots. Mr. Chao has been searched through the whole presidency as well to the top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell. Said events have been TV troublemaker in a way I simply cannot set aside. Special Envoy Mick Mulvaney, Senate National Security Official Matt Pulitzer, and Stephanie Grisham, Press Secretary to Visit and Melania Trump have also seen down several others were brought on the verge of quitting. The president has facing new restrictions on his use on social media. Facebook, which owns Instagram, has suspended him from both platforms at least until he leaves office and possibly indefinitely. Twitter suspended his account for 12 hours. What was the role for police? Police have been heavily criticized for response to the violence. Images captured showing casual blooding. Showing rioters trying through the some of the cargoes and paid one man occupied Mr. Pelosi's office, putting his feet up on her desk while another was photographed walking out and carried a leg. In Washington, D.C., 68 people have so far been arrested, only one of them in the D.C. area. One USPC officer had been placed on leave as a woman was shot dead on the floor of House of Representatives. The woman has been named as the Air Force veteran L.C. Babbitt, 35 years, a part of a group of was waiting in the chamber while it's still in session. The FBI is now seeking to identify those involved in a rampage. On Thursday, crews began installing an unscalable 7-foot 2-meter fence around the Capitol. What have Biden and Trump said? Mr. Biden denounced what he called an insurrection and rituals attending which borders on sedition. Mr. Trump, while he got told from up in a Twitter video, go home and also continue to make false claims of electoral fraud, said he understood the pain of his supporters. The US Congress has convened his Joe Biden photo and then video.
The chair advises members of Congress, the certificates having been read, the tellers will ascertain and deliver the result to the President of the Senate.
The undersigned, Roy Blunt and Amy Klobuchar, tellers on the part of the Senate, Zoe Lofgren and Rodney Davis, tellers on the part of the House of Representatives, report the following as a result of the ascertainment and counting of the electoral vote for President and Vice President of the United States for the term beginning on the 20th day of January, 2021. The report we make is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be the President and the Vice President according to the ballots that have been given to us.
He has a statement.
The whole number of electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Joseph R. Biden, Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 232 votes. The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for Vice President of the United States are as follows. Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 306 votes. Michael R. Pence of the state of Indiana has received 232 votes. The announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States, each for the term beginning on the 20th day of January, 2021, and shall be entered together with the list of the votes on the journals of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Of the writers left for Capitol, Congress will continue to certify Mr. Biden's victory. Mr. President, pressure from Mr. Trump to throw out some of the votes that change the election result. Shortly afterwards, Mr. Trump said in a statement, although he disagreed with the outcome of the election, there will be orderly transition on January 20th. On Thursday, the White House police officers issued a statement saying, crazy loss of life, and Wednesday's files will continue to pray for the speedy recovery for who suffered injury. Despite rise in COVID-19 cases in America, right now I'll be playing a song called gonna play the house music. It is gonna play I'll be playing Disney by New Skills, so Focus and Cheesy on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM.
It's something about the rhythm. I've been wanting your next to me. You've been looking for words to say when you know me had a chemistry. If you love me right, baby, please, I can never be your enemy. It's something about the remedy, got me feeling like it's destiny.
I stand and watch it unfold.
That was distributed by Nitsky on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. The New Zealand's government about files of reported had been little misguided and counterproductive by the Green Party. The National Party campaign before October general election on introducing pre-flight testing for New Zealanders return home, but the Labour Party then said there will be no evidence it will reduce COVID-19 entering New Zealand. But COVID-19 response measures across Africa last week announced that pre-border tests will be coming, and on Saturday this will come into effect on 11:59 p.m. January 15th. Initially for New Zealanders flying in from the United Kingdom or the United States. Returnees will need a certificate form of war showing no negative results in the city house prior to the departure, with some expectation people who could not be tested for migrated and they will be not able to return without this. The government spokesman on Monday said COVID-19 has grown exponentially around the world. There's been new, more transmissible strains since government last dismissed fees of shortages for managed isolation and quarantine and reminding New Zealand's main protection and pre-departure testing was just another layer where added as travel to New Zealand on the while several transit stops will be new tests locations will because of the risk of COVID-19 to the wider community. The change will be made to the COVID-19 public health response air border order to bring the new test into law. Green Party immigration spokeswoman Gold's Graham in August lane for National Party policy. They want to leave New Zealanders to stranded overseas where it can't be guaranteed they have access to adequate healthcare or support, she said. They are most likely to make the incorrect assumption that tests that are easily accessible overseas. National went on to lose their October election with Labour when it eased the majority in the House just by this and signed a cooperation agreement with the Green Party, given the Greens ministerial profiles outside of cabinet. Government, who no longer has an immigration portfolio on Monday, said Green Party remain concerns. The new policy will have leave New Zealand stranded places like US, UK, where health systems are under immense pressure, she said. The recent government's response to COVID-19 had been about compassion, but she believed the new measure was misguided. The fact individuals were carrying the cost of public health measure was counterproductive, especially because there's no evidence will stop COVID-19 from entering New Zealand, she said. Strained overseas health system means could be long delays in getting tests and results. Hopkins said last night asked if the government could legally stop New Zealanders with COVID-19 entering New Zealand. Yes, we can stop him, but we're not blind to the fact it could leave some people in quite a lot of difficulty, he said. Visa Tiger law professor Andrew Geddes said the Immigration Act meant the government could not stop any New Zealander entering the country if they made it to the border. But quite legally to do as travel airlines that could not fly into New Zealand unless they adopt the rules onto her own passenger who had passed the COVID-19 test. Human Rights Lawyer Michael Bob said the government was probably sound legal ground because it's not keeping New Zealanders out or allowing their entry protect the majority of its citizens. Government said it was working on a detailed plan to airlines put the new rules into action before January 15th. The National Party had been approached for a comment. Minister for COVID-19 response, Chris Hicken, said New South Wales over the summer has been woeful.
Has been woeful. So I would say to New Zealanders, there's a reason we're asking you to keep doing this. It is to make sure that if we need to contact trace, we can quickly stamp out any COVID-19 that gets here. If we're talking about a virus potentially that could be accelerating in the speed in which it can spread, that's where contact tracing and fast contact tracing becomes absolutely essential. So please scan the QR codes.
That was the telephone stuff that I said right now. I'm gonna play History Never Repeats by Splittings.
Before I go to sleep, don't say the words you might regret. I lost before, you know I can't forget. There was a girl I used to know. She dealt my love a savage blow. I was so young, too blind to see. But anyway, that's history. I say history never repeats. I tell myself before I go to sleep. Don't say the words you might regret. I lost before, you know I can't forget. You say I always play the fool. I can't go on if that's the rule. Better to jump than hesitate. I need a change and I can't wait. History never repeats. I tell myself before I go to sleep. And there's a light shining in the dark, leading me on towards a change of heart. History never repeats. Deep in the night, it's all so clear. I lie awake with great
But whilst history never repeats by splittings on Sheldopedia on Arrow FM. As a mutant strain of COVID-19 just spreading through more easily than any other kind. And it's a variant of a COVID-19 may be resistant to a vaccine. Gonna tell you the top 10 COVID because it says Germany had around 1,869,165 cases with 39,255 deaths with 41,562,461 have recovered. Number 9, Spain with 2,024,904 new cases and 51,675 deaths. Italy had around 2,212,361 cases and 17,281 deaths with 1,572,015 have recovered. Number 7, Turkey with 2,296,102 cases with 22,264 deaths with 2,160,251 have recovered. Number 6, France with 2,727,321 cases with 66,841 had died with 190,756 have recovered. Number 5, the UK with 2,819 with 0,508 deaths, which is the UK just reclaimed for most number of deaths in Europe. Number 4, Russia with 3,550,042 cases with 60,457 deaths with 2,700,552 have recovered. Number 3, Brazil with 7,912,083 cases with 200,011 deaths with 7,036,550 have recovered. Number 2, India with 10,509,208 cases with 150,136 deaths with 10,060,859 have recovered. Number 1 is good old US. The US have been stubborn and sloppy at the toss-up with 21,660,559 cases with 360,454 have died with 9,696,915 have recovered. South Africa was currently going for a mutant strain of a COVID-19 so record number of cases in the past day with 1,149,591 cases with 31,368 deaths with 929,239 have recovered. Next song we're playing for is Scandalous I Mistake.
So scandalous. You know you wanna sing with us. That's why you know you should be scared of us. That's right, looks to kill. Straight talk, sex appeal. you get down, cause we ain't even close. You got me feeling and you got me feeling weak. Listen as I speak, cause I'm careful as I creep. You got me going crazy and you know I can't sleep. Love watching your moves and you hypnotize me. You got me trembling like a little baby girl. You're so special, you're like diamonds and pearls. You got me spinning and you got me in a twirl. You're my number one baby and you come to rock my world. You're dangerous, just get it up. The way you move, so scandalous. It's all about the two of us. A one night stand just ain't enough. I need some stimulation, baby. A little conversation, maybe. You got me spinning round like crazy. There goes my baby. Scandalous, so scandalous. Scandalous, so scandalous. What? Hot stuff, head to toe. Where you go, no one knows. You smile, plenty dough, and we ain't even close yet. Solid as a rock. How many ways can you hit the spot? Show me what you got, cause we ain't even close yet. You got me feeling and you got me feeling weak. Listen as I speak, cause I'm careful as I creep. You got me going crazy and you know I can't sleep. Love watching your moves and you hypnotize me. You got me trembling like a little baby girl. You're so special, you're like diamonds and pearls. You got me spinning and you got me in a twirl. You're my number one baby and you come to rock my world. You're dangerous, just get it up. The way you move, so scandalous. It's all about the two of us. A one night stand just ain't enough. I need some stimulation, baby. A little conversation, baby. You got me spinning round like crazy. There goes my baby. Scandalous, so scandalous. Scandalous, so scandalous. A little conversation goes a long way. Show a little patience that you are here to stay. So show me that you're game. You're dangerous, just get it up. The way you move, so scandalous. It's all about the two of us. A one night stand just ain't enough. I need some stimulation, baby. A little conversation, maybe. You got me spinning round like crazy. There goes my baby. Dangerous, just get it up. The way you move, so scandalous. It's all about the two of us. A one night stand just ain't enough. I need some stimulation, baby. A little conversation, maybe. You got me spinning round like crazy. There goes my baby. You know you wanna spin with us, baby. That's why you know you should be scared of us, baby. You know you wanna spin with us, baby. That's why you know you should be scared of us, baby.
There was Skinner's by mistake on Sheldopedia on Arium. In fact, it's reached number 2 on the UK singles chart. Right, the fact of the day is a lack of exercise is now causing many deaths of smoking across the world, studies suggests. So, next song we're going to play for is that. Oh, I'm gonna play I will be going to play Happy Birthday Williams, 2014's biggest song, top the US Billboard Hot 100 charts for 10 weeks, including the longest running stint at the top at 15 weeks at number 1 in New Zealand, remains to this day.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space with the air. by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
That was Happy by Flowers on Sheldopedia on RFM. It was a theme song for our fourth hit Despicable Me 2. So that's it for Sheldopedia. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.